Alright guys, sorry for the delay. We're not totally sure what happened. The stream just kind of crashed on us, but we're back up and going now. And now we have Jimma Banks is actually joining us. So he'll be talking in the chat and talking about some of these games with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And so first up now, I'll be battling the Mr. Valor. Oops, didn't want to send an ultra. And his team is interesting because he hasn't made any adjustments post Charm yet. So his team would struggle a lot with Wigglytuff. But because I'm not running Wigglytuff, it's actually giving me some troubles here. So his team is a Alolan Golem, Heracross, Vespiquen, Noctowl, Vigoroth, and Lantern. So this is one of the teams that I really wish I had Wigglytuff for. Because none of these mons really counter Wigglytuff. I guess Lantern is able to win the one shield, but Wigglytuff could do a serious number against this team. Alright, so real favorable matchup here for me. So I'm expecting it.
Switch into your charge move, though.
Yeah.
Ooh, that Magnum Bomb's still gonna hurt.
And I was able to farm a lot of energy there with that quick switch. I already have a full body slam ready. Probably should have waited there so I could piggyback. I think that was a misplay.
I mean, with your team, we can kind of tell how this battle's gonna go, but we're gonna wait to see how it plays out first. The Body Slam Vigoroth mirror match is unforgiving, though.
The upside being that the last thing remaining here, it shaping up to be Noctowl versus your Magneton, which is never going to work out for him.
And a Venusaur. But I mean, if he gets shields down somehow, then Venusaur can just go and do work. Sort of.
Yeah, he's forced to burn his shield here, because otherwise that's going to be over.
Even still, you'll get to a second discharge, unless he's trying to farm you a bit.
Yeah.
For the follow, FedEx742. Appreciate it.
And while it does look like lag here, it's actually the way that we're having this setup stream, so it's remote stream to a computer, and then we're actually taking a window capture of that computer and using that on the stream. Because Tristan's based out of the US, whereas Scotty, the guy who's hosting, is in the UK. And it's kind of difficult to get over there and set your phone up that way. So that's the lag that you see.
Probably gonna need a whole lot more subscribers before we we can pay for Tristan to make that flight for a Friday night stream, right?
Right.
I mean, I think we'd be better off having Scotty make that flight. Because you're always complaining about stream times, so we might as well bring you over here where it's more reasonable.
Plus, you know, Tristan and I live within like 20 minutes of each other, so we could do the stream live right here in the Seattle area.
It's more like 45 actually.
Depends on traffic a lot, actually.
But actually right now I'm lights from you because I'm over in Bellevue. guess. I just elected to farm some energy first because it's such a good matchup for me.
Yeah, you can tank those.
Sky attacks because they're double resistant.
He's on. Yeah, and if he's on psychic as opposed to, you really have nothing to fear.
Ooh, this is tough. I think I'm gonna go discharge in case he brings in Lantern
I think the stream
no.
just died again.
again.
It's still light for me as well.
Oh, I just went to a black screen then.
Magneton's nasty. I was already kind of worried about that because I know I have to battle it soon.
Man, I'm getting some lag here.
Jim, are you still running the same team that you sent me a couple days ago?
Probably not. I'll have to double check. I did send Twastel my team of 6, but I definitely was having some struggles with my team of 6 a couple days ago, so probably isn't the same.
I mean, unfortunately, with the new update for PvP and everything, there goes my entire original strategy of double counter user and double electric. And I know you had a similar team to that as well, so.
I don't remember what I sent you, but I did want to run Heracross, and I'm not anymore.
Yeah, same. And that's just... I mean, going into this, I was thinking that Heracross would be like a sleeper pick, and it was a sleeper pick. Now it's just way off to the side.
I thought I knew.
I wouldn't say Heracross is a sleeper pick.
Well, I thought it would be. I didn't realize Vig would be this dominant. I mean, within like the first 2 hours of release.
That's a good question for you, for everyone on board. So, how bad does a legacy Magneton need to be for you to not want to use it? This
Has to have it. It's got to be a 15-0-0 spread.
Literally, in theory, the worst possible.
Probably, yeah. Also, you need to forget that Thundershock and Discharge are both legacy, so you can use a fast and a charged gem on them.
I don't know. I'd be on camp. Every legacy Magneton is probably playable if you want to use a Magneton. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a bummer if it comes out that way, but at the same time, like, it's so much better than what you could be using when you want to be using it. Like, never feel bad that your legacy came out poorly. That happens to all of us.
Right. I mean, I'm just personally happy my Magneton ended up being relatively decent PvP IVs, but I've traded a bunch of early 2016 legacies, and I have a rank 3900 some and change Lick Muck that hits under 1500. I think 1468. So it's,
Like, it sounds like a gem.
it's one of a kind. I'll tell you that much.
Here we are again with that, switching in to Venusaur against Vig. This match ends up being a whole lot closer than Caesar, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. It's making me rethink Venusaur.
I mean, the one thing Venusaur has going for it is Frenzy Plant, which, especially with the inadvertent nerf to Acid Spray, Victory Bell is basically using Razor Leaf only. And even if it can get to a charge move, it's almost better not using it, because you can potentially give them a chance to piggyback. Tristan, what's your play here?
Oh, that's not good.
Oof.
Why'd he power gem? That was a misplay.
Maybe you wanted to chip as much damage on your Magneton first.
But wouldn't it be better to like double X scissor than use a power gem?
Maybe. I'm not too sure, but
Is this
Unless
Stone
you-
Edge? Can I survive a Rock Blast? Oh, Wild Charge.
you can
Yeah,
survive.
that's GG.
Yeah, well, you could survive a rock blast, but you wouldn't be able to get to a sky attack after that rock blast.
Very close game.
Yeah. Thanks for
Wanna
the
use my
numbers
Magneton.
there, King.
Alright, so now I'm gonna be scrimming against PV Pokes Kakuna. And he and I just hit Ultra Friends last night, so.
And he
this
recently
is-
caught a Sharpedo.
So this is a breaking in our friend. He and I are running the same team, except he's running a Alolan Golem in place of my Magneton.
I think it's just a lot of players haven't gotten around to started playing with Wigglytuff yet. I mean, we have essentially much of it on stream yet.
Yeah, no, his comment was he wishes he had Magneton or Magnezone. So that explains why he's not running one of those two. I think also some players just don't the lack of shield pressure from Wigglytuff. Like, Wigglytuff is really good, but it puts you at a shield disadvantage. Which can be tricky, especially considering that Vigoroth beats such a high percentage of the meta with a shield advantage, that you could put yourself in a bad spot if they have a Vigoroth in the back.
Okay. Welcome to the stream, Skip Logic. Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing with Wiggly a bit and not super fond of it for the same reason I'm not super fond of the Razor Leaf users. You know, it's to get sort of off track and find yourself at a shield disadvantage and really not be able to make that up, given its particular set of charge moves.
Yeah, it's so slow.
Yeah. And it's so easy, like, okay, cool, I burned a shield, you know, got your thing to faint. You're going to bring in something that's going to resist, you know, a fort comes in, it's like, they don't have to shield either of your charge moves now. You're
Right.
down, definitely down a shield and down all that energy.
Right. Jim, have you gotten to use your Wigglytuff yet, or you just made?
Oh, not really. I actually am the same way. I'm not too fond of it. I just have it on my team. I don't know.
It does have a lot of bench pressure, so it could end up being a strategy that people bring it in their 6, but don't really use it in their 3, just to force certain lines.
Yeah.
Oof, this is not good for me.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it paired with Lantern in that way, since Lantern has such good matchups against most of the steel types that people are going to be inclined to want to bring in. It can do work without ever even being in your 3, in theory.
My tournament's tomorrow, and I'm so undecided. I know it's set and ready to go, but with some of the changes this week, and I just, for some reason, can't decide on my 6.
Oh, it's tough for sure.
Wigglytuff was kind of just thrown in my 6, like today or yesterday, and I haven't really used it a lot. For fun, should I run my Magneton, take my Lantern out, and put my Magneton in the team of 6?
I mean, I'm liking Magneton so far. I think, I mean, it beats Wigglytuff, and some of the things that Wigglytuff is pushing out of the meta are things that beat Mag. And a lot of the Wigglytuff are like decent matchups for Magneton. Since Magneton, you know, it's resisting Charm, it's double resisting poison moves, it's double resisting flying moves. It also resists Bug, so it's got a lot of good resistances. Oh dang it! I did not want to do that.
Any of you still on Vespiquen? We had some questions in the chat about how you're feeling about it.
Me or Gemma?
To anyone. I know you're not on it, obviously, since it's on your 6th here, but
That was gonna be my 6th. I was saving my Stardust. I needed 50,000 left for that move, and then the big change happened, right? And then you guys helped save PvP, and it's not on my team of 6 right now because of that Wigglytuff and the way some of the meta has shifted recently. I'm not using it, and I'm prepared to kill it. But what do you guys think about it?
It's
well, Tristan, you
tough.
tried desperately to trade me a reasonable one, and that didn't work out. So I still don't have one. I've yet to actually feature one in my 6. I've seen it in action quite a bit. It always feels like it's doing work.
I really like it because it's tanky. Like pre charm, it was one of my favorite mons that I was practicing with because you can tank like 2 or 3 body slams from Vigoroth before you need to start thinking about using a shield. Versus basically any other Vigoroth counter, after you let 1 body slam through, you basically have to
It was
shield the
giving
next
me
one. What was that?
just gonna say it was giving me a lot of trouble, and that's why I was going on my team of 6 before the update. Really messing with my team of 6.
Just pulling more from the chat. Any thoughts about running double electric with Lantern and Magneton? Is there any downside to those two paired?
It's viable. It makes you a little bit weaker to Vigoroth though, especially if you have like Noctowl in your team. And then like if you have Vigoroth and then like Wigglytuff, because Wigglytuff wins the 2 shield, Vigoroth wins the 0 shield, and the 1 shield is like pretty IV dependent. So like say your team has like Vigoroth, Wigglytuff, Noctowl, and those double electric, then you really only have 1 spot for 1 hard counter to Vigoroth. I just think that might make you a little too vulnerable to Vigoroth.
And does a hard counter to Vigoroth actually exist though? That's up for debate, right?
I mean, not like a true hard counter, but I mean, like all those mons that I just mentioned, like none of them do more than like go even with Vigoroth with it, which I think is just not a great place to be in.
Any new sleepers now that some of the meta has changed? I don't know if you can call them sleepers anymore because we're a couple weeks in, but any mons that you're liking? Seems like Twastel's really liking this Magneton.
I'm kind of curious. It's gonna sound weird, but I'm kind of curious to play around with Caesar actually. The same matchups that Fort has. It's just you've played against Fortress a bunch. You might not have the reps against Caesar at all, which value, and we've seen it over and over again with players sort of finding a Petmon and running it. You can sometimes steal matchups where players just don't know. I also have been liking Venomoth a lot. I think it's really, really well. And I find that it has the ability to steal matchups that it should have no business winning just because of how good Confusion is.
Yeah, which matchups are you talking about?
I've repeatedly, we're not talking like from scratch even shields.
Yeah, definitely.
We're talking like
what?
I find myself beating Noctowls with it. Towards the end of a match where things have lined up where all that's left is a Noctowl on 25% or left, and my Moth on a similar amount. And the combination of Confusion and how fast Poison Fang comes out, you can usually steal those little wins before they could get that sky attack on you.
Hit a couple
Is this
Gravelers today with
Earthquake?
Silverwind. Oh man, big chunks.
That was a misplay. I wish I could have that one back.
Ooh.
Or Magneton.
I thought he had a little slower, less energy, so I thought I could beat him. I thought I could land a discharge before he got to Earthquake. But the better play would have been to swap in my Fortress.
There is a Pokemon I've never fought, and I've secretly been worried about it for the last week because I just have no experience fighting with it.
Yeah, and I think there's value in that. Like, really, stuff that's on the fringe of the meta, that's reasonably good. You're not going to give yourself an edge by so far off meta that it's not ups, but it's thing that fits nicely in there and you can get the reps in with it, an edge in unfamiliar matchups. I've said this a bunch of times on stream, you never want the first time you experience something to be in a ranked battle. You never want the first time I wonder if Frenzy Plant kills me from here, to be in an actual ranked battle, right? And if there's have a Caesar and it's something you've been playing with, you're going to have a mastery of that matchup where no one else is going to.
Do you have a Caesar?
I don't. I haven't started playing with it yet. This is all theory craft at this point, but I'm highly considering it.
Well, I think you should make one just so I can practice against it.
Why am I the one spending the dust?
Win you your next tournament.
Because you might actually want to run it.
That's true. To look and see, I have a really good Scyther that I could potentially, since they're so similarly CP'd.
Do I? No.
Well, I think Poison Fang is really essential on Moth. I think something that comes out quick. And while Fang is pretty underwhelming, it definitely gives you some legs in the Wigglytuff matchup, which you wouldn't have.
Oh, you can't. I don't think you can win that Wigglytuff matchup without Poison Fang.
Oh, it's hard to win with Poison Fang in some scenarios, but you definitely want Poison Fang, and there's a lot of scenarios where if you're just relying on Silverwind to land, I don't think that's going to do it.
I try not to be so one-sided on certain topics, but if you don't have Poison Fang or you don't have Thundershock, I feel like you don't run them this tournament.
Yeah, they just...
And Raichu.
There's equivalents that don't require the Legacy move that I think you can consider, but if you don't have the double Legacy Magneton, if you don't have the Poison Fang Moth, I think you should look at something that does the job similarly. If you're those, obviously you can look into Dustox in place of Moth, although because I think the spamminess of Poison Fang is that important. I'd look for something.
Dustox has the tankiness though.
Yeah. It's certainly
where's my switch clock? Oh no! That was.
That was a tragic loss.
All right, Gemma, you're up.
So you want me to send the invite? I'll leave the room now and
Yeah, DM me your 6
send.
though.
Down in the DM. Is the Twitter DM okay? Or actually, I should do it in.
If you send it on Twitter, I can take a look. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
feel almost obligated to bring a Wigglytuff against you.
Wait, you said you're obligated to bring it against me?
I feel like the stream is going to demand that they see more Wigglytuff at some point.
Yeah, Gemma has a Wigglytuff, a shiny Wigglytuff.
Oh, well, we know shinies do more damage.
Exactly.
I mean, that battle did end with the shiny Vigoroth with just a hair more health.
You're right.
Science. Chat is. I think I had something to do with chat demanding shiny Wigglytuff, but they're still demanding it nonetheless.
Alright, so Gemma, by the way, is running Wigglytuff, Noctowl, Vigoroth, Venomoth, Lantern, and Venusaur.